Hi there, my name is Sherri Simpson. I am your intuitive guide. I help my clients to use their intuition to create the life and the business that they desire to have. During this time of new awakening, I want to help you determine how your intuition comes in and how to take actions that align with your desired outcome. So first, let's talk about how intuition comes in. We're all a little different in terms of our intuition. For me, I have this clear knowing, and I don't know where the knowing comes from. It just shows up. I do kind of see things and kind of hear things and certainly feel things in my body as well. Many empaths, those feelers in their body, are on the planet at this time. So if you can walk into a room and you can sense the feeling of the room or the feeling of the people in the room, you are likely a feeler and you can feel the energy within your body. Some people I've spoken to are able to see visuals almost like they show up on a screen in their mind's eye. Other people literally hear their guides and their angels and their intuition as though someone, not you, is talking to you. So you have to know how your intuition comes in. In terms of acting on that intuition, usually you have a desire. So let's say that you desire to create an amount of money in your business. With that, you want to know, so you literally have to step in to having that outcome already. So if you have this beautiful outcome, put yourself in it as though you wake up in the morning and you have this outcome already. The money's already in the bank. The clients are already working with you. The product is already sold. How does that feel? How does it feel knowing that it's already done? So for some people, that is just a lightness. It could feel like freedom. It could feel like joy or excitement. It could feel like love. You want to know what that outcome feels like. For me, a lot of times when I'm manifesting something, it will feel like adventure, which is excitement and freedom for me. So you want to know what something feels like. Then you always want to ask. I'm sure you've heard that when you ask, it is given. What does that actually mean? When you ask, you are sending out this energetic request to the universe. And the universe, just like a genie, says, your wish is my command. When that happens, your job is to line up with the outcome that's already been created. Everything is energy. This video is energy. I'm energy. Everything outside and inside is energy. Everything is energy. So what we do as humans when we're creating, we actually create a request and then we create our being and our energy to be in alignment with that request so that we can call it into us. So what does that actually look like? Essentially, you can write down a list of ways that you could change your current reality. I like to think about reality as though you're looking at 4 different energy bodies. So changing your current reality could be physically doing something different. You're going to have to do that anyway, but it's not the only way to create change. Next, you could think something differently. So if you've been thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of that, it will be too much work, I don't deserve that, then all of those thoughts are going to create energy within your body, which is not going to be an emotional or energetic match to what you desire. So what you need to do is start thinking new thoughts. Basically, you have to convince yourself that yes, absolutely, you deserve to have this outcome. Yes, I know that other people have what I want. I know that it must be possible. If it's possible for other people, of course it's possible for me. So you have to talk yourself into it using those thoughts. And what you'll find is that the thoughts that you have will trigger something in your emotional body. So it will trigger some kind of emotion. Hopefully, it's triggering an emotion that feels good, that feels light, that feels like joy, that feels like excitement, that is in alignment with the outcome that you're creating. I want to let you in on emotions and what they actually mean. Essentially, you have this beautiful soul aspect of yourself. I used to call this aspect of myself higher self, but I realized recently that my higher self is not above me and outside of me. She's within me. So now I prefer the term inner being because I know that my soul self and my human self are walking side by side. So if I have a feeling that feels like boredom or heaviness or sadness or loneliness or anger, then I know that whatever thought created that emotion is out of alignment with my inner being and how my inner being sees that specific thought, that specific topic. So essentially, you feel good when your human or ego self is in alignment with your inner being and soul self. So when the two are feeling in alignment, then it's so much easier for you to get these intuitive hits or nudges or these little wisdom nuggets that come in that are going to lead you to the outcome that you want. So I mentioned already that you could change things physically, you could change your thoughts, so you could change things mentally. You could change your emotions, so you could feel different. You have control over all of these things. The other energy body is your spiritual body. Connecting into your spiritual body, you could do that in a meditation. You could do it in a hypnosis. You could do it in a way where you're allowing yourself to speak directly with the universe. So it's as though you're having this cosmic conversation. Know that the universe is inside of you as well, just like inner being. So many of us will think of everything higher as being outside of ourselves. It's not true. So you've come up with a list of things that you could do differently, that you could think differently, that you could feel differently, and that you could have some spiritual connection with. So how do you determine how to act or what to act on in order to bring you in alignment with what you want? You could just pay attention to how you feel and literally check in when you're about to think something. And when I say about to think something, what does that mean? How do you about to think something? If a thought comes through and it feels like joy and it feels like love or excitement or openness or expansiveness, then that is something that's going to trigger the emotion. So the thoughts automatically trigger a feeling in your body. And those two things together are going to impact how you act and if you act. So many people will want a different outcome, and they may be trying to think different thoughts, but the feelings that get triggered, they will be a little bit paralyzing so that people aren't actually taking new actions. What happens is that can feel heavy and it can feel dense and it can feel scary and it can feel demotivating, like you just don't want to take those actions. You really want to check in when this is happening to allow yourself to determine, is my ego self just trying to keep me safe and keep me inside of my comfort zone? And if you get a yes from that, if that's what it feels like, you want to take the action anyway. So the action part is the thing that usually trips people up. You may have heard of affirmations. You may be doing some subconscious mind work. You may be meditating. You may know how your intuitive hits come in. But if you're not actually taking the physical action in combination with all those other things, then the space or the distance between where you are and where you want to be, whether it's in a line this way or this way, it's too great. So essentially, you want to take new actions. What does that look like? It could look like you in your physical day-to-day life, doing things that have nothing whatsoever to do with the outcome that you want. So if the outcome you want is X amount of money in your business in 3 months, then you going to bed earlier, eating more fruits and vegetables, exercising every other day, walking every other day, it looks like it has nothing to do with the outcome. But when you do these actions that are new and different, new being something that you have never done or something that you haven't done in like a decade. So there has to be something that's new. So if you exercise all the time and you go to bed early all the time, then you might be able to try a new recipe, go to a new restaurant. If those things aren't new and scary, if they're not outside your comfort zone, then they're not enough in alignment with leaving your comfort zone. So those things that are in your day-to-day life, they may have nothing to do with the outcome, but it's new things that you can do. If you're a person who's been meaning to do a gratitude journal, then start a gratitude journal. The way that I have been taught recently to do this, and it's been working really well for me, is that at night before you go to bed, you write a list of things that you're grateful for. I don't care if it's 3 things, 5 things, 10 things, or 100. Whatever you're comfortable writing is fine. So you write those things that you're grateful for, and then when you wake up in the morning, you reread that list. And then the next night, you're going to write a new list, and then the next morning, you're going to read that list again. So the goal is that you're in this loop of gratitude. So you're starting your day and ending your day with gratitude. If you've never done that before, that's new, that's different. It's something that you haven't done. And it may not be something you've done consistently. And if it's not something you've done consistently, then that's a new act. So you want to pay attention to when you're doing things like writing your gratitude list or rereading it. Is that feeling that you get in alignment with your goal? Feeling is everything. Essentially, many people can feel numb. I know this happens to me on and off, and it has happened in my past a lot. It's as though I have been so uncomfortable at times with the relationship between my human or ego self and my spiritual or soul self that I haven't allowed them to connect with one another. And there's been times in my life where I have felt angry and sad and lonely and afraid and anxious. And when you start to feel those feelings, you can get kind of sucked in, and then you start feeling those feelings more often. They start to build momentum. When that happens, there's a part of yourself that's trying to keep you safe. So what happens is you turn off or shut out this sense of feeling. So if that's you, if this resonates, I want you to allow yourself to feel. And because it's your body, because you have control over your thoughts, even though it doesn't always feel like it, and you have control over your emotions, you can start feeling more of the good things. So if you are someone who's been feeling bad and maybe numbed themselves and you have to feel more good things, then when you're writing your gratitude list, maybe you have to check in with your gratitude list 5 times during the day to keep that good energy flowing. When you're writing that list, I want you to think about writing a list of things from your past that you're grateful for, things right now that you're grateful for. There's a roof over your head, there's food in the fridge, there's clothes on your body, you have a warm bed to sleep in. Those are things you can write about right now, a healthy internet connection. And you can also slip into your gratitude list things that you know you're manifesting. So what's coming? When you slip those things in, they feel like you already have them, the way that you're inserting them into the past and the present gratitudes. That can help you open up your feeling sense, so you're more likely to feel both the good and the bad, but then you get to choose. So when you're manifesting, you definitely need to ask. You could do that by writing it down on a piece of paper. This is what I'm creating and intending to create this month. You could do it by prayer, literally sitting down with God, Source, Universe, and saying, this is what I'm creating. This is what I need your help with. Thank you very much. Then you need to know, like I mentioned earlier, that what you created is already done. You would never have the desire to create something if it wasn't possible and doable for you to create. So if you're thinking, oh, but I want a $10 million mansion, is that something I can create? Yes. You just need to become the person who has what you want. So a lot of times for people, that is about not necessarily doing new things like I've been talking about, but it can be about stopping the things that you have been doing that aren't in alignment with the goal. So if you've had a tendency to gossip, I know that when I worked in an office, that was something that was the norm. Gossip was the norm. And of course, when everyone else is gossiping, you just jump right in and you just see it as normal. So if that's an experience you've had, then you don't necessarily have to start conversations that are positive with the people who are gossiping, but you need to stop gossiping yourself and perhaps leave these situations where other people are doing something that you don't want to participate anymore. So it's about stopping the things that you're doing that are no longer in alignment with what you want. I hope that makes sense. So many people have a hard time deciding exactly what they want. I'm assuming that you've had these wishy-washy feelings where you've decided, okay, so I want more money in my business. Well, do I want this? But maybe I deserve that, but maybe I really want this. And so you have this like wishy-washy request. So then it's like sending this like wishy-washy request out to the universe, and the universe is like, well, what do you want? So if you're having a hard time deciding what it is that you're creating and who it is that you're becoming, then I want you to work in reverse. I want you to do what we call, this is what Abraham Hicks calls it, the clarity through contrast process. So what you would do in that case is you would write a list of all of the things you don't want anymore. Or you can just write a list of what is. And then what you do, as you cross each item on that list out one at a time, on the other side of the piece of paper, you write down something that would feel better. When you've got that entire list done, what you've done is said, universe, I don't want this. I want this instead. Then on a new piece of paper, you write down this list on this side of the paper. And then one more time, you cross out the items and write something else. So what this does is get you more and more and more clear about what you do want. So let's talk about manifesting when you've already asked, you know the universe has got your back, and now you are starting to change your physical world. You're doing things differently. You've stopped doing some of the things that weren't in alignment. You're thinking better thoughts. You're feeling more deserving and more worthy and totally enough for calling in what you want. What happens with manifesting, and as humans, we have a tendency to be really good at things for a little while, and then we kind of bump in and we hit this wall where we're not allowing ourselves to continue these good habits or these good feeling things. It might be that we're just about to shift our comfort zone to this new place, and then we decide to go back in our comfort zone and we go back to all those habits. So we know this often happens with people when they have New Year's resolutions, and then maybe they last 2 to 3 weeks. Some people maybe only a few days, and then they go back into their comfort zone so they don't keep going to the gym, or they don't lose the weight they want to lose, or whatever it is. Essentially, if you start to feel uncomfortable, it's not a feeling of anger or sadness or fear so much. It's just like a weird, awkward, uncomfortable feeling. That is the magic spot. That is the spot where you can say, yes, this is working. That is the spot where if you continue making these new changes even more consistently, the new thing is coming for sure. Because what happens is your comfort zone is over here. What you want is over here. And what you have to do is either expand your comfort zone so that it includes this thing over here. That's pretty hard to do and it takes some time. So what you're actually doing is moving your comfort zone to this new location so that it contains different things and it doesn't contain things that you don't want anymore. So essentially, how do you know, like deep knowing, whether the things that you're doing are going to be in alignment with your end goal? Feeling is the number one way. Does this feel good? Does it feel like the outcome I desire? Does it feel light and free and exciting and joyful? Maybe it feels peaceful and calm. Those are all good feelings. Those are all feelings that tell you that your human self and your inner being are in alignment. They have the same thoughts about the subject that you're thinking of. So, in terms of your inner being and really getting those intuitive nudges, the way that I like to play this game is to have this open connection to my inner being. So literally I will say, inner being, come forward with me here and now. And if you do this, you might be able to feel a presence. For me, my hands just got really warm. You might be able to feel a lightness or a connectedness or maybe a very groundedness. From this place, I want you to ask. And really, if you're a feeler, you can do this by a feeling. So you could say, is going to bed at 9:30 p.m. in alignment with my goal? And my body's starting to move forward because my yes for my inner being is a forward motion. And sometimes I go in a little bit of a circle. And you could say, is staying up, and I'm getting a no, is staying up until 2 a.m. in alignment with the goal? And I'm getting a no. So you want to know in your body what your yes, your no, and your maybe responses are. So I like to use something called a pendulum. So I'm going to show you quickly how to use it. So this is my pendulum. And if you just pick one up from the store, you want to put it into your non-dominant hand, and you want to take your dominant hand and just clear the energy out. So this just sets the intention that whatever energy is in here, it's going to be gone. So then you want to fill this pendulum with your energy. So I'm just going to hold it into my hands, and I'm going to think of love and joy, and I'm going to think of freedom and excitement, and I'm going to bring that energy into my hands as though I am filling up this pendulum with that energy. So essentially what I'm looking for is everything that is for my highest and my greatest good. Everything that will bring me joy, that will feel like freedom, that will feel like excitement, that will feel like love. You don't have to do this very long. So once you've done it, you can decide which hand to put your pendulum in. So I usually use my opposite hand, so this is a little different for me. So you want to say, inner being, are you with me? Show me a yes. And you can see that my pendulum is starting to move in that forward over to the left kind of circle. Thank you, inner being. Inner being, will you show me a no, please? So you'll see I'm doing my best to keep my hand really stable for you. You'll see that my pendulum started moving in the opposite direction. Inner being, can you show me a maybe, please? And hopefully you can see the difference, but the maybe for me is forward and back. You can do this exact same thing with your body. I would recommend that you stand, that you connect to inner being, and you say, inner being, using my body, please show me a yes response when my body wants to move forward. Show me a maybe response. And my body automatically has this sense that it wants to do this, like a tick-tock. And then you want to say thank you because you're building a relationship with this intuitive aspect of yourself. Thank you, inner being. I'm already getting the response in my body without actually asking the question out loud. You're going to find that when you're connecting with your intuition. So what I asked in my head was, inner being, show me a no response. And I have this sense that I am being pulled backwards, and that is my no. So once you know that, you can then start asking questions about this list that you've created. Is this physical action of going for a walk twice a week in alignment with my goal? For me, it's a maybe. Is doing yoga twice a week in alignment with my goal? Again, it's a maybe. So you're going to get an idea. And I'm giving you these two ways to work because maybe you're at the grocery store and you don't want to whip your pendulum out. So if you pick up something on your shelf that you believe is in alignment with your desired outcome, you can ask. And when you're asking, it should feel light. It should feel good. So you could say something in your head as you pick something up off the shelf, like, this food is in alignment with my desired business goal of, and whatever it is. And then if you get this like feeling, if you get this heaviness, or if you get a no response, then you put it back on the shelf, or you choose to acknowledge that it's not in alignment, and you're an adult, so you choose to do it anyway. So I wanted to teach you these things because it's important for you as you're becoming this new version of yourself to understand how to create your new realities. So it's as though you become the person who stopped gossiping. You become the person who does gratitude daily. You become the person who eats more fruits and vegetables. And just those 3 little changes can make a big difference in your life. It might not necessarily get you to the goal you want, because all we've spoken about is indirect changes that you can make. You also want to see what direct changes that you can make. So if you're on Facebook and that's where your business presence is, then you want to think about the things that you can do differently. Also, how you can think about them differently. So for me, messaging is something that I don't like to do unless someone messages me first. So for me, in order to change my business so that it matches this outcome that I want, I could actually just decide to message 3 people a day. Hi, I'm happy to meet you. I hope you're having a good day. It doesn't have to be anything related. It doesn't have to be anything spamming. It doesn't have to be anything. But doing something that's new and different is going to shift your reality. So I hope that has been helpful. The last thing I wanted to mention is that your energy field, it can be really tight to your body, but it can also be pushed out 5 or 6 feet around you. So if you want to become an energetic match to the outcome that you want to be feeling that outcome, the emotion of that outcome more often. So in order to do that, you could think about the outcome and bring that joy or that excitement or that adventure into your body. And then you could imagine that it fills up your heart, and then it starts bubbling down your arms, and that it bubbles down through your core, through your hips and down your legs, and it bubbles up through your neck and out your head. And then you can imagine that you turn this dial, and this dial is going to expand this energy out, and you're going to feel it pop outside of your body. And then you can push it out another foot and another foot and another foot around you. So it's as though you have this beautiful cocoon of energy that matches your desire. So it's you connecting on a wider and broader stage, we'll call it, with your desired energy. That is a way you could shift things spiritually or energetically when you're trying to line up to that desired outcome. It has been a lot of fun doing this. I do a lot of things like this in my Facebook group. So my name is Sherri Simpson. I am your intuitive guide. I look forward to connecting with you soon, and I would love to have you in my Facebook group. My Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/LOA to freedom. That's LOA to freedom. It has been such a joy being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Namaste.